Briggs.
Here.
Councilmember Bray.
Here.
Mariani.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tatten is absent.
And the Mayor Pro Tem did talk to me this week, and he has, as you all know, he's a teacher, and he has an open house this evening. He's trying to make it for later in the meeting, but I think that's very important. So I just want to let you know that you a little bit busy. So move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm real happy to say that after discussion, the Imperial Boy Scout Troop 66 is going to lead us Pledge of Allegiance. Gentlemen, come forward. All please stand with me. And say thank you once for forward and helping us pledge allegiance and make it good. Moving on to agenda changes. Do I have any agenda changes, my colleagues? Mr. Briggs.
Mr. Mayor, I would respectfully ask that we pull consent items 2.4 and 2.5. 2.4 because it's a big contract item that we probably should at least get a short briefing on before we take action, and 2.5 because it's an important proclamation you're making and people don't know about it.
Alrighty, so as in previous changes, we'll take items 2.4 and 2.5 at the end of the agenda. So I entertain a motion to move items 2.4 and 2.5 to the end of our agenda this evening. We have a 1 second. Could we please?
Motion carried unanimous by those present.
Moving on to Mayor Council Burstman's disclosure and community announcement. Ms. Bragg.
I have nothing at time.
Ms. Briggs.
Nothing at time, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Bray. All right. So let folks did travel in the last couple weeks. The trip is very important to Washington D.C. Wasn't necessarily about Imperial Beach. I did have opportunity to meet some folks there. Further mention those to item 5.2. So thank you, Mr. Hall. Do you have anything?
No, sir.
Public comments on items not on the agenda.
I have no speaker slips, Mr. Mayor.
Great. Then we'll go right to presentations, and we have a couple of really good presentations this evening. I'll start with Public Safety Director, Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and Manager. Tonight's a really special night. We have one of our own Imperial Beach firefighters that's being recognized and promoted to the position of fire engineer. Tyra Moe, please stand. I'm going to bring the mayor down. But first, what I want to do is I want to talk about Tyra a little bit. Tyra's been with us 7 years. Is that right? 7.5. You've got to count that to front. But she's been a firefighter for a lot longer. And some of the things that she's done, and it's just incredible. I was looking at her resume that she brought to us, and some of the training classes. I just want to go over them just a little bit. So she's got the Fire Mechanics Academy. She's got driver operator, the fire instructor. She's taken fire investigation 1A. Been an engine boss, which means that you're on a strike team and can manage an engine. She's actually certified as a scuba rescue diver. Trench rescue, ventilation, forcible entry, low angle rescue, command 1A, 1B, fire protection 1A, 1B. There is this system here that tell you they qualified for the position of here.
And I've asked to be able to present this ad to our father, Doug. and for him to be able to pin Tyra. And just one of the things beyond what Chief Clark mentioned, how much Tyra and her cohorts out here from the fire department really do for the city of Imperial Beach, besides being firemen. You participate in a lot of things in town. We really thank you for that.
I think Tyra, another thing that's done for us is last two open houses at least that it's coming up where the house is opened up. She's coordinated with people that come in, talk about community and available to everybody. And I think right now she's going to take family and friends to the fire station and do a celebration. So again, congratulations, Tyra. Okay, next we're going to bring in the mayor, and we're going to talk about recognizing people that put on the fireworks for the city of Imperial and also the Sea Festival. With I'd like to bring Ron Powell, Fort, and Sophie from the Fort of San Diego. Okay, Fort San Diego. And this is calendar. Please come up. Andy. Okay. Yes.
What we have here is for the independent fireworks. We also on this. A lot of it had to do with Bay Boom, and it's everybody here at Beach knows we have a partnership with Port of San Diego, and they have the city. Thank you. I hope you let your know. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you so much, Mayor. That my colleague help you by Ardo.
Thank you.
Also, thank you so much.
Thank you. So once again with Fourth and fireworks, and started with two individuals came to the city council, I believe, and asked for some help, some consideration to put on what really a volunteer. They up to the plate. It was probably, in my opinion, as good a firework anywhere in Diego County that evening. And I'd honor Tim O'Neill and Kenny Younger, all they've done to actually really back. So thank you very much.
Okay. Part of the show was the Sea Festival, and you recognize these sponsors, and again, Port Diego.
40's to plenty work.
Thank you, Mayor.
but to have a new part of this thing, and once again let us know that we Cal-Am really to help the Sun Festival. They're in the beginning of it, and they're local to us. They provide services to us too. Also very involved in the community. So I'd like to thank Chris and Brian Barretto, Cal-Am. Thank you very much for helping us. And now what we have is the folks that really took the extra effort to put on a fantastic event this past summer. And I'd like to start with Shirley and Leah, who really spearheaded this together. And I'm going to ask them, I know we have a presentation for them, but I'm going to ask them to introduce those they feel that really helped behind the scenes, in front of everybody. I do have these for Shirley and Leah, but I would like you to go ahead and invite those up, and we'll present to other folks that you think need honoring here.
This was silent partner, you know, it is getting a plaque, but the city of Imperial Beach was such a great partner for us in this event. Tom and his crew, and Dean's sitting here somewhere. I mean, they were hanging. So I mean, we just have to say, it was a real partnership with the city, and it could happen without you guys being part of our team.
She just took my words. I tell you, I have been in the city a little over 50 years. I have never seen some cooperation between our community and government. If this came together, it would not have happened without the city backing it. You know, the financial support of Cal-Am and thank you. I'm so glad that moving forward already next year. So put a calendar to line 18. Okay, and it's moving forward. But this community came together way which was absolutely remarkable. We didn't receive a dozen sponsorships. We had thousands of dollars donated. People were pulling out $5 or $20.
You have to do the phone for us, because it goes on recording right now.
So people were just into their pockets and gave money, just randomly. It was wonderful. And at Farmers Market, you sat there and put the bucket out for people to donate, and people came out. We had almost 200 volunteers. I'm looking at it, half this room volunteering at that. And if you're volunteering at the event, walking the parade. And I just thank all of you. You made it happen. We helped spearhead it. The theme was, and as we saw you in Sandcastle, preparing, we will resurrect community and really make it. And this summer, you proved to us that it is ours, and we're excited that so very well. We raised $100,000 for our local community. Boys and Girls Club over 15,000. Marv got over 5, and that's all because of just a huge amount of effort from so many people. Want to say thank you, and in doing so, we say thank you to our committee members. Yeah.
Leah, I'll give you another.
Need a microphone. Okay. Yes, have this. Chloe was in charge of reorganizing the judging and getting the judges together for all the Sandcastle events, and each committee member really had something they were in charge of, and they had to do it. I mean, and that was pretty amazing because we actually had a committee that did. Sharon Cobb. Sharon is our all-around volunteer, get the word out. Any job that we couldn't figure out, I think Sharon was on every committee. I think that's just kind of how that worked. Leonard Gonzalez, our IB posse. Who really helped us out how to communicate with the masters and how we would get a lot done in addition to being a master in his right. Now Hazel. not only came meetings, but she took notes, copious notes for us, put us on track. We all amazed that official note take and the all around help. Erica Lowry. Erica took upon herself to resurrect and manage the parade. What an undertaking it became. Kim Paris, I see you back there, Kim. Kim not only manages IB Beautiful, but she took it upon herself to manage all the vendors and the plots and all things Fort Wood Plaza. So, amazing.
Great community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
That's our job, too.
Candy Younger must have had the July of her life, because not only did she, and we saw her actually, some of us, and she took care of the Sandcastle Ball and Mar Vista, and Nellie did help her with that, but. Everybody that's here. I do want to thank Christine and Bid, because they actually came in and helped us with some money and some support. And
This improvement district donated, I believe, $500 to make this happen. And Tia was so many of the meeting helped us all facilitate the activities that we were doing on the port. Thank you. Thank you.
And just because to make sure you got this evening refund and some of the fees that were charged, the city's giving back to the community. And thank you very much for what you've done. And there were several other folks that they wanted to honor, just couldn't make it thing. And I think it's everybody that volunteers. We forget to appreciate them, but we really all do. So thank you for putting them together. Thank you. Thanks.
Council and City Manager, as you can see, that fantastic team of people who were volunteers. There were many hours pull off not only fireworks, but an NC Festival, then a parade. I think it came off really well. The report that you have in front of you summarizes what we did for the event. It discusses what the city is involved in. It talked about our sponsors, Callum, and particularly the San Diego. How the Port of San Diego came in last year and started the Sunny Festival up, and then it off to this group of people. And believe it or not, they're starting to meet again. Starting early, which has been a huge advantage to make this a successful show next year. With that, if you have questions or comment me, it's pretty much a report. I'm glad to answer those, and we'll make this.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Clark? On anything? I think that's a great way to start, Chief, is it between Scott's, yourself, the Tyra, and of course the Sun folks, and make us feel better. Thank you very much. Well.
You're welcome.
Now on the consent items 2.1 through 6, but we do 2, 4, 5 to the end of entertaining a motion. 1 more second, could we please?
Motion carried unanimously by President.
Moving on to items 3.1, we have the chief and.
Mayor and Council, it appears as though the chief stepped out for a few minutes. Maybe I could just let you know what we're looking for is an introduction of an ordinance. Oh, here he comes right now. So I will. The chief, carry on.
Excuse me for a second. I need to touch base with a couple of people. We're talking about a very narrow area that we defined as changing the hours that people park by expanding them to from 7 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the morning to a beach goer serves other people use the early in the morning to get down there. Also, in the commercial corridor that we have down there off Seacoast, those strands we're talking about same thing early in the morning, 5 o'clock, but also extending it from 10 o'clock until 12 midnight. Everything except for the Dunes Park. We want to maintain all our parks at the same time, consist for any type of enforcement there. The one thing Dunes Park is that it goes to 5 in the morning, so anybody that wants to surf and comes in early and parks there, that'll not an issue. So what you have in front of you is the staff report. We've identified about $4,000 worth of expense to change signage. Identifies also the one part that I want to say that in the staff report need to make a change in relation to IB Boulevard. The staff report is incorrect. The ordinance is correct. At IB Boulevard will go from in the morning till 12 midnight. That's because we're going to get a new hotel there. Also going to get another restaurant across the street has patrons that park across that area. We don't want anybody to enjoy that's ready to have a meal, coming in late, watching a football game or something like that, and then out and find a ticket on Shield at 10:01. So this solves that problem. It also is a problem for early morning surfers that come in and want to surf, park early, just gray light, and get out and go surfing. In your pack is a pictures that reflect the situation down there at beach with the exception of I wanted to show IB Boulevard to change in the corrected that at and all it just shows the time on there which is ordinance itself as written correctly. It's just the time was inked on the printout. With that, I'm for any questions.
So short and sweet. We're at midnight 5 a.m. is shut down.
Correct. Except people, it states 10 at night, and then I was in a resident area, but fuck in the morning there.
Okay. Do we have any other questions of the chief on this side? And we did have a little change a few months. So they finally back. So not hearing anything. Motion to enter to hold the first reading of ordinance 14/1147 by title only. Oh, go ahead. You're okay?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I need to read the title.
Okay. Could you please?
Ordinance number 2014-1147 of the City of Imperial Beach, California, amending Section 10.36.160 and adding Section 10.36.161 of the Imperial Beach Municipal Code related to parking regulations on street ends west of Seacoast Drive.
So I entertain a motion to introduce to hold the first reading of the ordinance by title only and waive further reading in full and schedule the second reading and adoption of the ordinance on October 1st. We have a motion and a second. You sure can.
I'd just like to comment that at a meeting yesterday afternoon of a large portion of the business community along Seacoast Drive, the issue of changing the parking regulations along lines that has been previously accepted by the council and is now going to go into the ordinance were suggested, and the city manager, who was co-presiding over that, was able to say we're already about to take action that tomorrow. And I think that was just so wonderful that the business community was able to hear right on the spot that the city is being responsive to those concerns. I think the surf community probably feels the same way if they were heading there. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Could we please vote?
Motion carried unanimously by those present.
Thank you. Moving on to report item 5.1, I'd like to ask our Human Resources Manager, Erica Cortez, and welcome. Is this your presentation for us?
That is correct, Mayor Jenny.
Okay.
So excuse if I get nervous.
No.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Mayor Hall. Since it is my time for presenting to the council, I'm going to introduce myself. So the general public to know me. My name is Eka Cortez, and the Human Resources Manager for the City of Imperial Beach, and tonight I have the honor of presenting item 5.1.
Because you're introducing yourself, could you let everybody know how long you've been with the City of Imperial Beach?
I've been here 50 years.
In positions, and it's up to this position, right?
Well, the fact is that a lot of items are, general business. They normally go under consent, and only specific items will go on report. Plus, recently promoted. Recently, a couple weeks ago, I've been promoted to Human Resources Manager. That's why I have the privilege of being here today.
Well deserved.
Yeah. Received input from Mayor Kill and Mayor Johnny Council, members of the council regarding some lease of CalPERS. The city's contract CalPERS in health and retirement. And the CalPERS was released 2015 health insurance schemes. They demonstrate a real substantial increase out of pockets to our employees compared to this current year 2014 and 2015. So council's direct staff went ahead and met with our labor negotiation teams in good faith. We met and conferred in good faith, and we set those terms that are presented in the item in front of you, side letter agreements with the Imperial Beach Fire Association and the Service Employee International Union. This side letter basically makes changes to address the out-of-pocket cost comparison. In summary, what we went to the groups is that the current out-of-pocket costs will not be greater in 2015. We did create a few analysis. We tried to address this item because we weren't expecting the substantial increases. One of the things that we did, we went to our jurisdiction cities and tried to compare what they're providing, so we kind of tag along. That wasn't a great result. One of the popular plans that we have with city currently has it's one of the less expensive plans. However, assuming that the employee continue with that fed, really demonstrates still a significant increase. So after the analysis and confer process tonight, we have in front of you a resolution that will cover items that would be to approve and adopt resolution number 2014-16, which would approve and adopt the letter agreement with the MOU with the Imperial Beach Fire Association, and also a letter with the MOU with the Service Employee International Union. In addition to, as it has been past practice, to continue these health benefit changes to unrepresentative management employees, and amend the fiscal year 2014-2015 city budget to allocate and appropriate these necessary funds. So I am prepared to answer any questions if you have, or go into further discussion.
So I'm going to try to put it in terms where I see it, and you can clarify a little bit. We were notified, actually you were notified, and then you let the council know that there was going to be some significant cost to our health insurance, and the council took a position that we had provided compensation for our employees at a certain level without anticipating this kind of increase, and we didn't think it was fair. So that's why we asked you to come forward and negotiate with those bargaining units to make an agreement that we could all live with, because we wanted to make sure our employees felt like they were appreciated as well as compensated adequately. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mayor Jenny.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Ms. Cortez on this, Ms. Bragg?
I just wanted to make a comment that I'm not going to speak for my colleagues, but It was unanimous. This was the right and fair thing to do. So, Erica, the only thing that you left out was a time frame on this.
Right.
Thank you, Councilmember Bragg. This is a temporary increase, not an increase, a temporary change. We do have memorandum of understandings, MOUs in place with both of our bargaining groups, which will expire June 3rd, 2015. That is the new. The health beds are cleared January to December because we have memorandum of understandings with the unions. This will 6 months, so it will be from January 1, 2015 to June 30th, 2015, and they are subject to new bargaining negotiations.
Thank you. I just have one question, Erica. You used the word significant. The impact was significant to our employees. Do you have that statistic, or can you reference that?
Yes, I do. It's actually also addressed in the staff report, but I'll be more than happy. The premiums increases are between 2% and 22.73%. As I indicated earlier, the most popular plan that we have, selected by the employees, which is less expensive in 2014, but still substantially expensive. It is 22.73%. So in numbers, that is in percentage, in numbers, we can see an increase between $158 to $228 more out of podcast than what they were currently already have.
Any other questions for Ms. guys? Go ahead, Ms. Briggs.
Thank you very much for your excellent first
Thank you.
report. I guess the question I had is, in some other employers I have worked for, the city of Imperial Beach allows employees who have health insurance and another source and are opting out of health insurance here to also receive an equivalent amount, as though the whole compensation is one compensation package, the health insurance, the salary, other bits, etc. So I assume that there are employees that are going to get essentially a bump in that amount, even they're not being assessed health insurance increases. Is that correct?
Greg, would you address that?
If I'm understanding correctly, we've actually in a prior OU with both negotiations, we've capped out that. Let me rephrase. And you're saying that employees who are covered under insurance, not with the city, can take the benefit that other would be used to pay medical insurance. That has been capped, and we've moved from that practice so that employees today hired after July 1st of 2000, and that amount at $100, regardless of the covered by if they're outside health insurance. So they do not get full benefit, cash benefit that employees opting into our health coverage do. So we limit the amount to at $150. There are some other employees hired prior to that also have a capped amount, $400.
And if I may add, this has been in place already in the current MOU, so it's been more than a year now.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions on this item? You did a great job in rushing through this one. Give you a lot of time. I think Ms. Cortez should all understand. Really did a lot to this because normally things take a bit of time. We thought this is the way they're in open seasons that we had to present them to the employees so they can make logical choice that they're doing. So I think I thank you very much for that. I think that obviously we made the right decision in resources matter. So thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity being here.
What we have before us is motion to adopt resolution 2020-7756 and add letters of agreement. Motion and a second. Will you please vote?
Motion carried unanimously by those present.
Thank you once again. Moving on to item 5.2, Mr. Wade.
Members of the council, this is seeking your authorization to issue a letter on behalf of the city signed by the mayor for the neighbor proposed coastal campus, the Strand Training Complex, otherwise known as STICS, SSTC. Affectionately known by some residents as the Elephant Cave, and also known as Naval Receiving Facility. The product for which they put an environmental impact statement. That's what IS is. It's similar to an AR, only it's the National Environmental Protection Agency, which is national document, and they replace the word study with report. This is proposed academic coastal campus at that facility that is based in consolidating special warfare that is primarily in the naval base, naval and space, and Coronado, as well as a little bit elsewhere in the Caribbean. And they're trying to put all of those facilities into one base just north of the elephant cage, that antenna you see there today, which, by the way, will be removed here shortly. The proposal calls for roughly 1,400,000 square feet of building area to house those training and academic facilities, and approximately 3,300 personnel. As you can imagine, that is that size of facility, which is expected to be built over a 10-year period, with build-out proposed by 2024, could have some potential impacts on the surrounding community. The letter outlines our concerns, ours being staff concerns. I wanted to point out that as part of the review process, the Navy conducted 2 workshops recently, one on August 13th at the Marina Vista Center and one at the Coronado Library on August 14th. The letter outlines proposed comments on the EIS in primarily the areas of traffic and circulation, utilities, some issues regarding stormwater, and then cumulative impacts. The letter is fairly specific, and staff would be happy to respond to any particular comment in the letter. If I could summarize the major issue is that given that this facility is proposed by 2024, the EIS has identified both potential impacts and significant impacts to traffic and circulation, primarily along the Palm Avenue State 75 corridor. We're requesting and identified mitigation measures to accommodate or handle those potential impacts. The letter, in several instances, requests that the Navy work with the cities of Imperial Beach and Coronado, as well as Caltrans, to not only identify those impacts, but mitigate them and implement those mitigation measures with construction of the project, and primarily focusing on signal phasing along the corridor, all the way from what is supposed to be the north end gate all the way to Interstate 5. We believe through work on our own as the Palm Master Plan, revisiting the signal phase act corridor is a primary component of making sure that traffic circulates efficiently in the future. The other issue that or comment is addressed is how and when the subgate RRF would be realized in the future. Around the southern gate access is the facility through Imperial Beach at Silver's Way, the only primary entrance in the facility today. The mentions made in the express concern about that. We've requested a letter that commuting be rated for personnel, and then that they be used primarily as non-commuting for entry and exit. And that the gate proposal up so and be the primary folk or engine exit into the facility. Some of the key highlights of comments, again, and staff would be happy to answer any question or comments you have on the letter.
Thank you. And just to start off, I mentioned earlier in the agenda, I had the opportunity to with Admiral French, who is the Navy Installations Command back in Washington, D.C. It wasn't necessarily the topic of the meeting, but I did interject it from Imperial Beach really does support the United States military here in town, but we had some serious concerns on the traffic that might impact our bedroom community. He listened to that. I also had an opportunity to speak with our Congressman Juan Vargas separately on it with same concerns, and also Mayor Kevin Faulkner from the city of San Diego, because he's 75. As we know, not just limited to Imperial Beach. So whatever track improvements we're going to request military in, would also like to see as San Diego. And all those totally understood are considered our concerns, and hope those kind of outreaches will move further along. And along with that, also talked with on the list of folks sending this letter to Lori Byrne, who's the district director for Caltrans. Because Caltrans does technically only weigh 75. We're the ones that are impacted by it. I think all those folks see what we're talking about. It's very difficult for the United States military to figure out how to put imprints outside the gates. But in this case, they be really entertained helping us as far as traffic is concerned. I did talk to Pro Tem Patton, knowing that he was not going to be able to make this meeting, and his concerns are very similar to what Mr. Wade addressed with traffic, especially in the community just south of the Silver Strand Gate. And I know that the staff has put together a report that requests that gate be open only during the midday. I recommend that we ask that gate be closed. And except for emergency operations or some other, I think there's too much traffic in a very small bedroom area to warrant that. I mean, the benefits that we may see from this military facility are still going to be in Imperial Beach. We're closer than anywhere else. For those young folks that are going to be working for the military up there to go have a lunch, get food, whatever other things, pharmacies that they might want, will be their place to go. The military right now doesn't look like they're putting in cafeteria facilities, which really could benefit some of our food service businesses in town. So there is a lot positive for this. I think it's going to be a real push now that this letter's out, is to partner with all these people, and that's what it really takes to get these improvements put in. It's very interesting that there's a assembly member that doesn't represent us here in Imperial Beach, as an assembly bill before up in Sacramento that requires traffic sequencing that might have some other reasons than what Imperial Beach is looking for, but any of those things can help us. So I think the motion is there to get the traffic moving on Highway 75. We're even impacted by it today without this facility, so I think it's important for us to get out in front of it. That would be my comments at the letter. Start off with I'm willing to listen and see what we might want to add to that, but I believe we should ask those that so I might be opportunity in the future to do something, but we've got this works. We don't want to run into situations some of the local communities have, though. Mrs. Bragg?
Thank you. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for your efforts with other local officials. You did mention the city of Coronado, and have you had discussions with them? In our packet, there's a letter from the city of Coronado, which I found to be a little opaque in certain areas, and was actually hoping for something a little bit stronger from them, although we're going to be impacted more than they are. So,
I actually have. I've talked to Mayor Naka. I've talked to the city manager up there. I know Andy has talked with city manager. The real thought behind this, and it's get all the people together here, is to go in on this letter with the city of Coronado, the city of San Diego, of course the city of Imperial Beach, and Caltrans, and use that we're all working together as one for a system that fixes that. Coronado did some things that have no effect on us, but in the past we've always partnered with them, whether it be airport facilities or in this case Highway 75.
I'm also hoping that SNDAG will be at the table in the discussions, because they have some input into this project. I would like to point out that our partners at 9th and Palmer here in Sudbury. So thank you for that, because you have an item later, but I'm really glad that you early to hear this, because these developments, also Bernardo Shores, are huge. I'm sure when you heard of this, your heart would be beating a little bit, just like the rest of us. Our Mr. Wade have done an excellent job in pointing out the key issue concern that I think that we all have. But we have to get this right in the beginning. I mean, we just can let this get control or have our concerns falling on the side. This is huge for this Imperial Beach, and it's not done quickly. We will rue day that we didn't pay attention to the details. Mr. talked about the level of service, and historically it's been one of my pet peeves. Highway 75. I see LOS going down, maybe E. I believe it was having my heart attacks, and you mentioned enough times in the so I really appreciate that. You've heard from members of the community as well. I'm sure you have too. Gotten letters and texts and talk about the traffic circulations and the issue of that gate. There are mistakes. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. Were those new projects that are in the pipeline, were those considered when Navy was doing this work, or not? And to what level? Because those projects in and of themselves are going to be a huge impact as well.
That's the best way to answer Councilmember Vargas. Some of them were some of the large projects were few others that were not considered. But some of the larger projects were considered, so were factored into the analysis. And even if not, the projects are coming forward now will on our side of the ledger, if you will, take into consideration.
Okay, well, I noticed you had included project even on the other side. Mayor, you really hit the nail on the head too, as far as what could mean for business community. And that's something that we're always looking out for as well. First and foremost, is concern for the resident Imperial Beach as well. So that's why this project has to be done correctly from the go. It can't be something that is approved, with just once a gloss. Mr. Wade, do we have a timeline? And I did question on the two were upset they had the houses that they had. But the attendance was, and are they planning more of them? And heard community comments to the Navy.
And comment on the work held in Coronado, not attend that one. This one here was well attended, active, very engaged. Was station that handled area of emphasis and members of the team the Navy under those questions. All of those things will be incorporated into response comments. The response period for the S ends on 22nd. That's why we're here seeking this letter. Comments can be provided directly to the Navy. You can do that through their website as well. And beyond that, I believe they are scheduled to go to the Coastal Commission for federal consistency determination in the month of October. I can't say for sure, but I believe that's when they're scheduled for Coastal Commission consideration of a federal consistency determination, after which they'll prepare the response to comments and circulate those for review as well, and then finalize the EIS. I don't know that I've heard a projected beginning of construction anticipation at this point, but my guess is well into the next calendar year.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Spriggs?
Thanks for the update, and I agree, it's a very comprehensive, well-done response on the issues. This is very important for Imperial Beach. I was at the workshop across the street. I got a chance to meet the base commander and other officers who were there, and technical people who were there. And I have to say that I think they were at their very top level of wanting to express cooperation with all of the Imperial Beach community members who were there and city staff. A lot of our city staff were there. And I found that were very willing to answer questions on the spot and solicitous of further comments in writing from everyone. They had a stenographer that take on the spot comments, which I thought quite good. The stations were well done. I think this is extremely big Imperial Beach, as everyone else's remarks are, and it's obviously a big project, or they wouldn't even have had to put on such a show, which was very substantial and better resources in that workshop on the Navy and their consultants. I think we need to add something else here, Mr. Wade. Maybe falls with cracks. Identify projects is a very time-limited way of looking at things that are impact in traffic, etc. But we have a developing community here, particularly our visiting and tourism serving engine growth and employment in Imperial Beach. The new hotel was already to some fact factored in. It was just earlier in tonight that there's potentially a hotel. Other waterfront development are cognitive, presumably in the ER. In water quality, environmental quality, these impacts that are going to happen, admit it, in the EIS, the environmental impact statement, are going to be impacts. But we have to, I think, make very sure that that the Navy understands that we have a major set of investments taking place here in ensuring that we have access to good, clean, healthy, water-based activities for our community and for our growing tourism industry, and that the future project of another hotel that could, have is somewhere between 70 and 100 rooms, etc., is part of that consideration. If for no other reason than, as the project develops, give us some degree of entree and leverage to go back and say, hey, wait a minute, we're Coronado, but we are a growing visitor seeing tourism based economy here, as well as a small beach town residential community. You're starting to impact our bread and butter. We need to be able to sit and do our we need to and our congressional orders and others if we do, because we've already provided that information that we have concerns and they be taken into consideration. Obviously, been historic great neighbors. Navy. We've tolerated a lot because we support our military here, and they're part of us as our residential residing in Imperial Beach and frequenting our businesses, and we're integrated with the military here. But we really do have to, as we did in the case of the helicopter noise when they started overflying the city while repairs were being made on the base, we really do have to stand up for ourselves from time to time. And I agree with Councilmember Bragg that this is big and this is something that we are going to have to pay close attention to because we can't foresee all of the negative effects that this might have. Those that we can foresee, I think the mayor was very clear in gate issue. If they are a little bit late in the new gate, and they want to use the existing gate while they have a construction problem or phasing or whatever on the new gate up 75, then we're impacted. So there are all kinds of potential ways in which you can't even foresee as clearly as we can foresee that one, that we may be impacted by this. And so to state what our character is as a community and where we're going, and that we are in some ways just as concerned as Coronado would be about quality, tourism, etc. Then I think we align ourselves, Coronado and the others, being able to need for change as they evolve in the future. So we can figure out a way to sort of get that notion in and preserve our position in the future, depending on how things go, which are not totally foreseeable right now. Thanks.
Yeah, I just want to point out for everyone's benefit that, again, this is the beginning of the process. This is an environmental review to identify potential environmental impacts. This will not be the last opportunity that the City Council has to offer suggestions for mitigation of those impacts. And so the key tonight was for City Council to review the potential impacts, certainly not to bless the construction of the project or not comment in the future, again, to identify the critical key environmental impacts of the project. So just want to make sure everyone knows this is the beginning of the road, not the end, and that's important to make that note.
I'm here, and what we have before us is the letter that would be going forward under the comment period before the 22nd. I would like to modify the letter to include closing South Gate. And thinking about what Mr. Spriggs said, I think in that letter we should construction of the North Gate is first before construction anything else, because even in the meantime, construction equipment moving down Silver Strand Bar, it's not going to cut it. And as I generally talked with Mr. Hall, Silver Strand Bar belongs to the city of Vero Beach, and it could be repaired for 10 years if the Navy doesn't do it that way. No. So I think we need to put in here what we're looking for and why we're in. And I think things should be added to what Wade made and the staff together for our reasons. Bragg.
My butting up over here. I don't know what. Is it?
Good.
I agree with you and would support. Mr. Wade, a question on numbering. Are these prioritized in any certain way? We rearrange them.
They weren't organized any priority. They're just in.
Don't they follow the
area? Yeah.
So they follow the.
Okay. What I'm asking is, I've highlighted number. I don't want to upset your out as far as your wants to they have presented, but estimation that number 2, 5, 7, and 9 are extremely important. That's on page 3, Mr. Wade. As far as addressing that we don't have an impact system fee, those are we're asking maybe we're putting it out there that hey. We don't have the funding for this, and you need to be. We're telling right up front that you need to be recognizing that, and then that's an issue. And again, the levels of service from item number 7 and 8 and 9 story. I certainly don't want to, like I said, I don't upset your referencing to your document, but certainly, in my opinion, those key issues that you want to put them in bold print, or if you want to reiterate them again. Later in the letter, those were just some of the items that really struck me as being critical to our response.
So, Ms. Wade, can I ask you, can we put in an extra paragraph at the beginning highlighting those items that Ms. Bragg identified as being the major concerns? Would also like to have answers to the questions that you forward.
We can.
How do you think that would affect our response having these type of things more?
I know that it would affect it all other than hitting in the beginning of the letter as a point of emphasis that those are primary concerns.
Okay. I
think it's as some member Bragg suggested to emphasize elements. I know that it would be eliminate them as from the letters to put them as a draft.
I think we should hide those items though. So do we want through which ones those again?
I can.
I got 2, 7, 8, 9.
That's right. 2, 7, 8.
2, 5, 7, 9, 12, 16, and 8. Yeah,
Uh-oh,
but those
uh-oh.
are some. Wait, what you could do is some of those numbers that are related as the levels of service. I think that's mentioned different times in the doc. That would be fine if you to lump those all together. Maybe your craft ship, but I think you get my suggestion.
Okay, I think that's good. It's good, and because we have do we need a motion on this line? Okay. So, what I propose as a motion to adopt a letter with the modifications to highlight those things. Rag ref also included in the letter. Close south gate, and the construction north gate is need for the construction facilities. I think that when more the letter, Mr. Hall mentions this going to places before bringing in the bolds. They've got coastal commission real consistency, the easiest thing. So they've got to do a lot. We just want to make sure they know where our concerns are. And of course, I will continue to work with our neighboring cities and other folks, including the congressmen and stuff that might be able to help us. So, is that adequate for you? I make that motion.
That they're going to have to contend with the fact that our environmental concerns and uses of beachfront are growing, not just as a population growth matter, but as an intentional tourism development trend that is just going to be happening. And so as they are growing in certain ways, so are we. And that is an important thing to put on the record, I think. I don't think it takes,
No, it does.
a lot to do that.
Mr. Wade, do you have that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would include that in my motion then. Then we have a second. Before we vote on this, Mr. Wade, Mr. Hall, do you think you have enough that we can bring this back and maybe get my signature on it?
Yeah, and I just want to make sure everyone recognizes that there's representation from Navy here tonight. I'm sure they've been listening and taking good notes. And our liaison, Mr. Wes Beaumier, is here tonight, and I'm sure has heard the comments of the council and has met the mayor on numerous occasions to
And just to let you know, Wes works directly for Captain Sun Base Commander, Naval Base Coronado, which includes this new facility as well as our helicopter facility here. So he definitely has contacts with the right people.
Just as a point of clarification, it would be staff's direction from council. I mean, the motion passes and the letter gets approved to redraft that portion of the letter and work with the mayor to finalize it for signature because
we've got it out before the 26th.
Right, exactly.
And
but one thing I wanted to stress, as I often do, that given the complexity, importance, and scale of this project, we had every department head comment, read this, at least the executive summary. Most of them ended the workshop, and you see before you is including the manager, a compilation of every comment that we put together in terms of importance to cities. So just because I'm putting it, it doesn't mean it's all mine. And I say in both a good and maybe challenging sort of way.
Well, thank you. So we do have a motion and a second. Or could we please vote?
Motion carried unanimously by those present.
Speaking of one of those future projects, moving on to item point 3, we have Tyler Fultz.
Mayor, Council. So this is for design and revisions for Breakwater Center at 9th and Palm. The project was approved on December 14th, 2011, and the app Sudbury development. The project includes a new commercial build, 45,000 square feet of commercial space, an outdoor plaza, parking, landscape improvements, right improvements, etc. This is an area. The old site before was demolished. Of course, it's at 9th and Palm Avenue, heading west. And this is the site plan for the project. And there are 7 separate buildings, one at the corner of 9th and Palm Avenue. And as you head west, there are 6 more buildings. There are 2 phases for the project. The first phase includes building A, B, C, D, and E. And that's what we're looking at tonight for the facade changes. We don't have the revisions for phase 2 yet. The developer may have some more information as to the phases. I know they've been thinking about doing all 1 phase or maybe 2. It's still in consideration, but right now we have phase 1 to look at tonight. Of course, the project has various access points. Here's the outdoor patio area, and look at the various design features in the next few slides. For project information, when we approved the project, or council approved the project, some conditions were provided for in the resolution that stated that the corner of 9th and the building at the corner of Palm needs to provide a distinctive and attract focal point to the project. To have more articulation, glass elements, varying roof lines, etc. Also, one of the conditions at all the buildings was the facade needed to that were from the street and have be pedestrian friendly and incorporate glass, other design and features that would friendly for pedestrians as well. So with that applicant at a later date would come to the city with the revised designs, and as they were incorporating these new revisions, they decided to provide a more modern and timeless approach to all the facades. This is a picture of the previous design for buildings A, B, C, and D. And as you can see, this is the larger one at the corner of 9th Palm Avenue. This is the elevation that was facing Palm Avenue, and that's why it was noted there's no entrance on Palm Avenue. It needed to provide some type of pedestrian friendliness to it. So that's why the recommendations were put in place in the resolution of approval. Following that, as you head east, these are the buildings, or heading west, these are the other buildings. And then we'll show you the new slide with the new design right now. This is the new proposal that's in front of us today. This is on Palm Avenue. The project now incorporates a new entrance with these tall glass windows and tower elements, varying roof lines and colors and materials. And I believe the applicant has some of the materials today to show after this presentation. This is the new eastern elevation on 9th Avenue. And what you don't see here is that there's escape buffer for the building and sidewalk, which will have landscape with trees to help articulation, elevation, and serve as a. These are new elements as you head west on the project site. One of the newer features that was previously proposed, I'll show you on the previous slide. They had this tower element before, but it was about 39 to 40 feet. And the new proposal is approximately 49 feet. What they're showing here, though, is new articulation for matching the lifeguard towers. And we'll go into a little bit more detail on that, but it has glass windows, and the angle here is facing towards the west, like a lifeguard tower would. So it's a nice design feature that's being proposed. Also shown are two murals that we proposed on the north and east elevations. The one on the north is just showing a pier element beach. The one right now on the east is a sandcastle. Staff has a recommendation that be implemented on the east, or at least considered. We'll show you that in a sec. And this is just a comparison of the design and the old design. So along Palm Avenue, and then this is on 9th Street. And then comparisons of building B, C, and D. New design on the top, previous design on the bottom. And I didn't mention is that tower elements also serves as clock tower. A comparison of all the buildings along at least phase 1 of the buildings on Palm Avenue. So the building on the northeast corner now provides pedestrian access from Palm Avenue. Tall glass windows. It has murals on north and east facade. Varied roof line. Varied materials, color. Also has that clock tower element, and that it has lifeguard tower roofing. And with this element, the 49 feet would exceed the existing 40-foot height limit that's allowed in the C1 zone. However, municipal code also for exceptions for buildings exceed the height limit, and that would include utility towers or other structures. So that's what's being proposed for this project. It serves as a tower which could be a utility. In addition, though, it could also serve as a facility because this increased height is an optimal signal. Typically, when wireless providers come to Imperial Beach, they have to build freestanding structures. Usually around 30 feet. They have to do multiple of them because there's all some type of obstruction along the way, and a lot of it's because they don't have the buildings don't have the existing height to give an optimal signal. So the applicant's proposing to have a structure that already suit a wireless provider to come in the near future, and have worked with other wireless providers on other sites that they own that locate these type of structures. So with the tower made by architectural interest, it has the that lifeguard tower element, the utility public, which is the claw, also serve a wireless utility. And this is an example for a mural you're thinking about on the east elevation, similar in color and tone to the pier element that's shown on the north, but it was a shorebird element, etc. But if this is into session that the app is here of any suggestions. These are colors and materials somewhat hard to see. The PowerPoint here, the applicant has the materials that he show you, but it has various colors and various sturdy design when you see the materials, which are much modern than what was previously posed. Signs are also being posed for modification. This previous sign plan was approved. It included two 10-foot tall signs. Two 5-foot monument signs, and then a gateway display, which was as an architectural feature. This is the new sign that's being proposed. The monuments locate in the same space, only 4 of the total. Two smaller ones at the entrances, and then middle. It allows for one sign per lot front. For this particular project, they have 7 lot frontage, so they could propose 7 separate signs, each feet and 8 feet. At the time of approval in 2001, 2 of the monument signs were taller height of 10 to reduce the amount of signing signs. Didn't want to have 7 monument signs throughout the site, and didn't want that either. And with design though, they're going to go 12 over 12 feet for two tall monument signs. No increase in area, but it was in height. Main increase height is due to architectural feet to match tower guard element. That's what's increasing the height of the sign. So they'd go approve 10 feet to opposing a little above 12 feet. With that, staff's opinion that the increased height for the 2 signs is preferable to having the additional monument signs throughout the site, 7 separate ones. And this is just a comparison of the new signs versus the previous signs. The ones on the left, those are during the day, and then the signs on the right is what it would look like at night. The Design Review Board reviewed the project last Thursday, September 11th. They voted to approve the project with the proposed design modifications with height increases to both the tower element, the clock, and also to the monument signs. It was a 4-0 vote, 1 was absent. They appreciated the lifeguard tower elements, the updated facades. They felt that the new design would age well and fit in with the new hotel. They also recommend, though, that the clock be of a substantial size and not shrink below what they're currently showing today. And here's a picture of the clock on the building. And they wanted to make sure that landscape elements are implemented to deter any graffiti that may be provided on the east elevation. With that, staff recommend to receive the report, entertain public testimony, consider the design, and approve the design with these new facade modifications, and determine that these revised plans substantially conform with the original approvals from 2011.
Do we have any public speakers on this item?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Briggs.
Thanks very much for the report. And did I, just a couple questions, did I understand you to say the design review board didn't have any significant changes or exceptions, concerns?
They did not. They like the new design.
Okay. Let me ask you about the, I think that was very apropos comment about the clock size. I've seen products before that had incredible shrinking clock.
They did mention.
As it became because of expenses and value engineering and all that, down to the size where you meaningless. In fact, it's kind of an embarrassment. I think that's a good result. The tower itself is shown in proportion to landscape palm trees, their maturity, which are around 40 feet. This is about 40 feet, right? Is that?
It's 49 and a half feet.
49 and a half. If there are wireless antenna involved, are they all going to be internal and invisible on the tower? Are these going to be camouflaged some additional way? This isn't discussed at this point.
That would really be required to completely stuff within existing tower. I'm not sure if they would have any minor modifications to the area that would be invisible. Typically, whenever it comes forward with this facility, first thing staff call on is to make sure it's off and you don't notice.
Okay, let me rephrase that. If we are going to prove an exception, a height limit, because there is a wireless antenna facility being incorporated into this. That's the reason for the additional. Then it's to be clear that there's not be any additional design features that have to come to the council when that happens. I mean, this design should be able to incorporate at least what we know about current technology for wireless antenna into the interior of the tower, so that it's not, we don't see anything different that we then have to regret. I say that because only within the last 2 months have we approved artificial palms and other trees to mask these kinds of antenna previously, and it's a lot has been made of how to hide the hardware from view, and this is to be extremely exposed and hard to hide if it isn't incorporated in the design of the tower. I just want to make sure clear. I don't know whether our sub colleagues would.
Well, I like to know just because this is with our purview. If putting cell equipment in this tower in the future, we can know if decide to put something on the side. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, that's all I want to know. No, I hope you heard that.
I think the objective here, and answer your question, is that from a design perspective, if this is what the facility would look like as a wireless facility. You're looking at it. Wireless facilities require additional use permit, even if they are stealth, and therefore a proposed facility would come before you, the council, for review and approval of a CUP. And if they were proposing to do something different, as the mayor just suggested, the council would have discretion to say yes or no.
I don't have any more questions at this point. Thanks.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank Sudbury for being here. Mr. Wade, or Mr. Foltz, one of the things that is missing from your report is the explanation as to why, if we approve this on December 14th, 2011, why hasn't this thing been built yet? There's a lot of people in the audience who want to know.
I would like to have our folks from Sudbury Properties step up and answer that for us, because I don't think that's a staff answer.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to agree with you, because I think Mr. Wade could pinpoint exactly why this project hasn't been made. He's got just total recall, and obviously, folks, it has to do with the demise of redevelopment. is one of the key factors. Mr. Wade, in a few short sentences, if you could.
Oh boy.
And then certainly.
I will try in a few short sentences. We've been working in contact with since September 2009, and during that negotiation period, the state decided to dissolve redevelopment agencies, and that was a redevelopment project. The agency had purchased the property in February of 2009 to get a development going. Redevelopment was dissolved the legislation that dissolved it initially was in June of 2011. The approvals that we initially approved, including the ones tonight you're considering substantial conformance, were approved in December 2011. Given that we'd made substantial progress, we felt we'd be safe in approving that agreement and the permits. The state of California didn't see it that way, and the dissolution process took the better part of 2 years to get through. The legislation that was approved in June of 2011 was revised in June of 2012, further complicating the dissolution process, lengthening the dissolution process, and it wasn't until January of 2014 that the Department of Finance blessed the project that see before you that had approved in December 2011. So basically a 3-year process of going through the dissolution process with state requirements, submittals, reviews, meetings in the state capital, the project, keep it alive, and get it approved by the Department of Finance. So it's my version of what happened. But then we have other jurisdictions in like Caltrans, which the beginning of the project was a challenge. Still, we're working Caltrans on the encroachment permit. So it's been called. And then I'd like Barry to answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. And you did a great job as illustrating this project has built. No fault of the certainly no fault developer who have been in Athens 2009, and I thank you enough for hanging in there with us. So join us again.
I'm excited. My name is Dean Leon with Sudbury Properties Department, and literally honored to be here tonight. It's kind of emotional for all of us, I think. And partnership is so unique, and it's the reason that Sudbury area has values relationship and this development opportunity. All the council members and mayor and city manager, but especially the stakeholders and your support for hanging in this. We went through this. It's amazing because the size of the project. We're speaking with our team. Together the next steps. They said it was one of the most challenging project we've undertaken and that I've been involved with. But no bigger honor could there be than to have that opportunity with this city. We absolutely love and adore the city. You know, the time's phenomenal. Well, we're privileged to be part of all growth. See what's happening here. We're really thankful for your support. So the applause really go to you. Thank you for being in with us. We need to pay it forward with design. Very excited. I'm there smiling as we're looking at it. You'll notice from the older design and we have Andy Stevenson here, in-house architect. To really a little bit more, but things we decided was Tom Berry, the founder of the company, self said, when we want to take the city of Imperial and knock their stuff off with our time. Request from the very beginning has don't do anything in what you do, and some of what we did, and maybe the would be the village walk, which always want something like village. We want something class. And so architect the design walk is here, and meeting Sudbury's came up with Leslie take this to the next level, and that's what we're giving today. Very excited. The car and Please note that clock size is going to diminish a little bit larger because it's a 6 center. It's your way. It means thing to us not only Imperial, the city of Imperial, but for surrounding city by and go, oh my, what happened? We tried to bring it highest level. Andy's going to tell a little about that. We just for your support. The timing is in Caltrans' hands. We're expediting as fast as we can. So much so that right before I came in and before I sit down here, I was sitting on a mound of dirt about 30,000 cubic yards, literally, which is why I was coming in the door when I came in. I went over, inspected. Our teams are going over. We're going to be talking to the city and asking for help to see if there's a possibility to start getting some dirt on the site. And we are just, again, thankful for your support and sticking here with us. Thank you very much.
So I guess you're being sacrificed for the architectural part here.
Well, I'm certainly available to answer any questions. My name is Andy Stevenson with Andrew Stevenson Architects, and I sublease space with Sudbury Properties, my biggest client over the years. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you folks may have relative to the design or anything in particular. I'm certainly available. We're, as Dean said, we're very excited. One of the pros that Dean didn't mention of the delay, there's always silver lining, is the retail market is vastly different than it was back in December 2011. And so the caliber of tenants that we're discussing in discussions with, and even many national tenants, are very interested in being down here. A lot of it is that, it is what's happening. I mean, what's happening in Imperial Beach which is very exciting to be a part of the new hotel and Cone restaurant there, and that's a real goal. And though it's set far high, and so certainly we want to be at that bar or certainly higher. Any questions that I can answer? I'd be happy to.
Could you clarify for me how many murals there's going to be? 2 or 3?
2.
2. Okay. Do we have some input on murals?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I've talked with Greg and Tyler about it. We've talked internally, and it was very interesting. It was actually kind of fun. We put those murals on there. They're placeholders, saying it would be fun to have a mural. And I think that it was indicative of how well that I was accepted. Greg and Tyler got a hold of us and said, well, we're not sure about this one. What if we do like this instead? So we have no conceptions of what those would be. I mean, we've talked to different people. We've talked to Elizabeth a little bit, and there's people, whether it's photograph, whether painting, we're open to some suggestions. We want them to really relate to the community and something that the community would be excited to have on them.
Okay. I'm just going to, my personal principle, and I come from a small town of Santa Barbara. That approximately 47 murals, and it's a question about the size of the beach. It's La California. Mm-hmm. And that is a huge draw for tourism. People got little city to the different, most of them to the history of that small town. The Imperial Beach, I think, is this illustrated our U.S. Open Soul. That's what we're known. So I'm going towards that. It's what we kind of hung our hat on as how somebody would identify Imperial Beach. And once you said, oh, Sandcastle Days across, we've had coverage even in Russia about our Sandcastle Days. So that would be something that I would be extremely interested in seeing in one of the murals, anyways. And the Mr. Wade or you as well, the top of the clock tower, and that caught my eye right away. I was like, I've seen that before. And then so that is spot on. Is that glass, and is that going to, with the setting sun, is that going to, what are the impacts of that?
Yeah, the way the clock tower has been designed, as Tyler put it so well, it was inspired, not trying to be literally a lifeguard tower, to certainly infer those sorts of characteristics that are found in lifeguard towers, but the slow glass is is a very dominant element in those kind of structures. Glass up at the top, it is intended to be a frog glass, and so at night it will be backlit. So this low up on top, and then the clock tower down below that. This tower really intended to be anchored to the center, and not just the center, but also that very important part of the 75 section up to Coronado.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
The 360 view of the tower, especially the western elevation, you're coming down Palm Avenue, it's going to be very high and very prominent. Is that a similar glass treatment on that side as well, and what will that look like? We don't really
Yes, what you're seeing on the elevation in your package is that glass where you see it stop at the elevation carries around at that same height all the way around and then onto the back side as well. So it's all four sides.
And I'd like to I certainly agree with the mural idea that my colleague has mentioned. And I think we should consider even more than 2 murals. Now, I don't know what that's going to do from a cost standpoint, but we were concerned, and you addressed our concerns about the eastern elevation, that is to say, looking at the side of the building we can see here in the upper left from 9th Street, that run along 9th Street. Ms. Bragg, I think, is on the right track here, that there can be other aspects of break that attract public. And certainly the architecture, but it's I think the content of the murals and the size and length of the murals. You could even conceive of, regardless of the theme, but I think the sandcastle theme is certainly very fitting. You could even think of a mural that would run a good portion of that wall. Now, I'm not trying to add, a complete redesign element, but the structure's there. The question is, what do we do is there something that can be done to really help make Breakwater a tourist attraction, which is going to be good for business, something that we're going to want to see. And just to think about it, you guys are outstanding at this kind of creative thinking about your projects and what they present to the public, etc. So just think that might be worth thought. To really, expand on that notion, substantially, and try to create something to see as well as somewhere to shop.
Agreed.
Ms. Bragg.
This certainly plants the seed with a mural concept throughout the committee. So we don't have to have all the murals on one building. Cal Am could thought about a mural. Jesus on the beach. There's a mural down there. So this again certainly plants this for the opportunity more murals.
Please.
Now we're talking about the glass. Before we start, the thing is to limit glare, I would assume.
Well, for reasons, and certainly to limit glare. 3 reasons. Certainly glare. Also, you don't really want to see through it if it's light. People have seen things where they do a tower looks great during the day, and at night, light inside, and you're inside of a structure. So you're better doing a frosting inside. It looks like it's sample glass. Lastly, if we are Sudbury properly successful in having a white provider there, that would sit aside there, and then the frost glass conceals. Never know it's there.
I just could kind of see what the neighborhood behind that area with a glass top, seeing how one is predominantly south could have a potential glare. So I just point out. Thank you.
Ms. Hall, did you have them?
Yeah, a couple things. I did have a long evening discussion with Dean when I first got here, and then I've never seen a city council that take mission statement more serious, and it's very very appropriate misstatement for our community is to create and enhance classic Southern California right here in Imperial Beach, and I know and see you guys trying to do that. I did want to say I think it's the design is very classic Southern California, and we're talking about murals and what go there. One of the things we tried to do in our process is to streamline the process so that you don't have to go through a lot of boards and meetings and not. And typically, a project like this would only come to the city council once for design and move along. However, it sounds like a lot of interest in one design feature and project. Obviously, you showed things as representative. Maybe we could at least back and talk a little bit more specifically about the murals themselves. Once you have identified whether or not they would be pictures or not they would simply be caricatures or whatever you might. Because again, you guys are looking for putting some affinity features on design so we can move forward. Certainly the design element is a little bit new to us, and to decide tonight might be a little bit difficult because we're not exactly sure the size, the kind of whether or not the clarity or not it's going to be picturesque or whether or not it's be more character and so it might be good to maybe bring back some discussion on the murals of just knowing they're going to be part of the project.
I don't hesitate to speak for Dean. We'd be happy to know because I think these murals is ours. They're yours. The communities. And so I think really want. I mean, always the difficulty of design committee. Certainly anything being proposed, I think we would appreciate the input.
Well, we pride ourselves on moving development through the process as expeditiously as possible, streamlined by the same token, kind of a new idea. We want to take advantage of that, and not try and put an arm on you, but a good thing for the council to digest a little.
If I can, just from the staff perspective, and one of the aides made, for future when we back with something staff on peer and a couple of reasons and being that it was a specific epic from Imperial. It was that it had a historic element, and the color of it, this black and white or sepia image, also connotes sort of a historic photograph. In City Hall you see all these black and white photos, and they're some of the most interesting and appealing pictures, and we felt that was a good application. Not to compare us to Pacific Beach, but there is a mural on one of their major buildings, on one of the major thoroughfares, that's a picture of the city or that street back from the 1930s, and it's a really cool, evocative image because the buildings are still there, and so that was the kind of thing that we were thinking about. And sandcastles, we just thought the image of a black and white sepia had that history to it, and we thought you could do a number of things with that kind of thought.
Well, what I'm hearing is, if you're willing, come back to us with a time frame when you know what the sizes and locations and things like that up, and get it so that we can get some input into that, and consider that you brought up the design by committee problem. Give yourself enough time here, because that committee might not be able to make a decision in one shoot. Right?
It's not a problem, and we're happy to do so.
But we're excited about that. But I think that would. Everybody okay with that? Because I know the staff is asking us to make a motion and approve the design and the facade modifications. Please, Ms. Bilber.
Just want to make sure that I thank you guys for sticking it out with us. If you guys had backed off, we would have lost this whole project. I was just sitting up here thinking I was 25 at the time. In my ripe old age of 29, I'm glad to see that we're finally moving ahead with this. So thank you.
Neither am I.
So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve. Go ahead, Steve, please.
No, I can't resist because of the relationships. One thing that we were remiss to the life, what we decided is, you look around, you see that this architecture like we have around, and we wanted to head of the curve with something that was eclectic, vibey, something that we hope would be a platform for Imperial Beach to get ahead of everybody else. And in the process, I have to say this because that was really big on our decisions with Andy and I. And the lifeguard station, and we took that, we found an example in Alaska that we really liked. It was probably one of the newest and most heavy ones. That's where we started thinking about this. That's it. And then also on the piece that goes like this, that's the piece supposed to represent the piece. So what we tried to do, find little elements like that. When you asked us to do with murals, just one building, we're honored and happy, whatever best for the community, and like us just to do with the murals, and because we think it's going to take us to this level. One last I have to say is I had the privilege of this new hotel, and to have a number of nice down there, and we were there's a gentleman in town that is people will recognize. Let's say in the process, another woman came in, and the other one were in there too. A guy, Steve Garvey. And so all of a sudden, the station started about maybe the city, the beach of the stars, and that's weird. How get that kind of recognition going on in Imperial where the stars went out here and get away from all of the madness, you know what I mean? And so there's a lot of ideas, and you couldn't have a band to design something. Because he did the 5-foot tower at the village and that whole center. So we're here with you. Whatever you want, we're on thankful. We want the community to be really about the murals and kinds we want to have.
Thanks. Keep bringing up. I'm mentioning that some recognize. I'm not sure about the young in here. We're a little older than the rest. So I'd like a motion to design and specifications and determine devised plans sufficiently conform with the approved plans for administrative coastal permit number 110024, design review case 110025, and site plan review 110026, and a couple more. All right, staff recommendation. We have a motion and a second. Could we please vote?
Motion carried unanimously by those present.
Thank you. And I think Mr. Bilbray hit it right on the nose. I mean, for a developer to sit by and wait to determine whether the state of California gives you a thumbs up or a thumbs down more than once for what appears to be almost 5 years, we really do appreciate that. So very much, and let Colt know that too. We have two items pulled from consent. First item is a 2.4. Mr. Levine, please.
Mayor and Council, this is a project that is a continuing effort to improve the infrastructure of our sewer system. This particular project are mains that were identified as severely damaged and high infiltration and areas within the city that were identified through one of the most recent closed circuit TV projects that we've done. Closed circuit TVs work that we've done. The bid came in under the engineer's estimate, about $30,000, and we're comfortable with the contractor. I think he can do the work. And recommending that you approve the resolution and move forward with the work.
Thank you, Mr. Libby. I think that's what Mr. Spriggs was looking for, is a description of what this item was, because there is a large price tag on it. I think you pretty much gave that, unless you have some more specific questions.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mr. Lean.
I can tell you that there are 3 main lines here that are behind people's properties, and I'll be working with those properties. They're through an easement, but there's no access except through their yard. So we'll be working with those property owners. We do that.
But I know that you'll figure out around it. And when it comes containing our system, I think your staff have done a job on that. I know expensive ones, but I think we can pride ourselves. We don't have some of the same issues that some of our neighboring cities get into. So That's why we spend the money.
Mr. Bilbray and I were just saying on the side that those three lucky neighbors are going to get new fences or new grass or something as a result of your tearing up their backyards, right? They'll get restoration, in other words.
Well, thank you. So what we have before us on 2.4 is adopt resolution 2014-7515. We have a motion second. Could we please vote?
Motion carried unanimously by those present.
I believe on item 2.5, Mr. Spree, we're just trying to make a point that this is important and it's something that we do, but it's not something that we should take lightly. Is that correct?
Correct. This has to do with our environment and a lot of volunteer effort to address the Tijuana River Action Month for October and your proclamation to that effect. And I think it's the kind of thing our community cares about very much, and we should proclaim it.
And I think that's what we're doing, and I know you get moving quite a bit down. I think our partnerships throughout the region are the one with the run in the Tijuana ass down there is really good, and I'm not sure if everybody remembers we even helped facilitate the fact that Tijuana River Valley's sister estuary with the folks in Los Cabos. That idea of starting us as cities or someday have. Mr. Hall told not an easy process. Some of these staff rules, estuaries were simpler, and they stepped out. The mayor down there is the difference versus our city. The estuary is in the city jurisdiction, so he wanted to do that. Folks down here, estuary accommodated that one too. So please.
Are these days the upcoming event to be on our web? Where's it? There you are. Okay, thank you.
Just information, I believe. No action. I know, Chris, you want to say something, but that's all right. You were prepared, right?
I didn't want to stretch our meeting out longer. I'd be good if Mr. Helm could at least read the dates and events that are in the report of those who haven't or who are watching, the 1,000 who are watching this meeting.
All right, hold on a sec. I gotta get a copy of it.
Oh,
I will read them for you. All right, here we go, Miss. On September 20th, we had Coastal Cleanup Day, Borderfield State Park and Dairy Mart Road Ridge, at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Help me on next. I can't pronounce that. Also have a native species planting monument in Borderfields Park from 11/1. And Mr. Helmy, you got it now?
Yeah. September 26th, we have a compost shop and collection event in Tijuana. September 27th, the National Book Lane Day, and also Native Restoration and Border State Park. October 3rd, there's I think cleanup event. Tijuana River Valley. October 11th, Goat Canyon event at Borderfield State Park. A butterfly lease event down in Tijuana. An event happening in Playa Tijuana Day. And a Borderfield Gateway ceremony and volunteer appreciation party where we together at the end of the celebrate and the I think a event at this. And that's a park.
Thank you very much. I think for those to volunteer, there's lots of folks at Imperial Beach that do, and that haven't had opportunity board state park not open all the and obviously these events it will. So take advantage of that. It's a full site down there. Concludes our meeting. Meeting is adjourned.